Hello, this is Martin from Secrets, the channel for learning about trading and investing, and welcome to a brand new episode of Algo Basics Learning Series. And today we are trying to explain to you how to connect to the broker Fyers to their APIs and what is the first step towards automating the trades. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe right away and share it to your friends so that it helps us, and also they would also benefit, and there's no cost incurred to you. So thank you. And then let's see what is trade automation and what is an API. So we had a couple of videos before this on the algo basics, and we had seen the different components. We talked brief about backtesting, right? And we showed some code to how to go about doing it, just an overview how to go about doing the backtesting. And today we are getting into another small component, that's the automation of the trades, right? Last time we saw the automation of testing the strategies. Now the automation of the trades, the first step towards that. So what do you mean by trade automation? We already saw that, right? It's like instead of manually punching in trades into your Nest platform or your the Kite or Fyers or whatever the different broker terminals that we have, instead of typing in manually doing it, we would make use of the automation of that. How to have the trades triggered automatically based on some strategies that we have, right? Some rules that is there in the strategies. Based on that, we would trigger the orders to the broker terminals and then get it executed with the help of APIs. Now, what is an API? An API is application programming interface. This is a way of exposing the brokers' servers or systems to the large number of clients that they have to facilitate. It's an interface to facilitate, to capture the trades and give responses to the different queries from the clients. It's a mechanism, it's a software technology basically, which acts as an interface between the client and the broker. We'll see how exactly that is, and why do we need to connect? Why do we need this application program? That is the only way we can get connected to the server, right? So the broker is having their own tools, right? So that connects with the NSE or any other exchanges and gets the trades executed. But what if there is no interface that's there? There is no interface by the broker that's being used, right? There are custom applications built by customers or retail customers of the broker, right? What if they want to? They have their own user interfaces, they have their own websites, and they have their own piece of code, right? Which would like to connect to the NSE, and the only way is to go through the APIs of the brokers, and the brokers have exposed the APIs in their servers to help the clients connect to them from their third-party interfaces. Now, why Fyers? Fyers is because the Fyers API is free. There are only few other brokers who have broker APIs free. Zero has is the largest broker, and then it's expensive. You have to pay 2,500 plus another 2,000 for storing data, and the Fyers gives it free. So that's the reason. That's the only reason why we're talking about Fyers to begin with. Right? We will get into the other brokers, APIs, and connections and all that in the coming series later on. But now, what are the these different steps to connect to the API of the broker Fyers, right? So there is this may be cakewalk for somebody who is already aware of the technology and the software and the APIs and coding. So if you are beginners, they may find some hiccups, they may find some confusions initially, right? So I thought getting to put together a video like this may help them to some extent, at least to begin with, right? So that anybody can trade with the help of code. Let's see, that's a code. Now here the first 5 steps that we can see is, one is creating an API app at the Fyers broker, downloading a sample code, and generating an authorization token and an access token. Two things are there. It's an authorization token and access token, and then we call the API functions. Let's see each of that. Now the broker would need a broker app to be created first by us. So the link for that, if you click on, you should have an account with Fyers first, and then if you have this URL, you will be prompted for the login and the password for the Fyers, the account, and then there you have a create app button here on the top of the dashboard. Click on that, you can create a number of different apps. So these two are related to Fyers apps themselves, and the third one I created for just showing this sample. So it's named MRT and Fyers test. It's an app that I have created. You can also create an app, so you just need to mention the URL and the name. That's it. It automatically would have an app ID and a secret ID. These are the two things that you have to make a note of. One is an app ID and a secret ID, and this is creating an app from the broker's API website. So first step. Second step is to download the sample code to connect to API. Now you don't need to have the sample code. You can go to the documentation of Fyers API websites. Links of that are there in the coming slides, and then read through there and documentation and accordingly write. But this is the easiest for a beginner to get to know how to connect. Right? They are giving two files, api.call.py and getaccesstoken.py in this website. GitHub is a repository where code is saved by the broker's code. Anybody's code can be put here. Broker also has put it in this common repository. Download the code is step 2, because you need a code to be there for you to be written to connect to the API app that you have created earlier slide, right? Step 3, you need to open the code and do some modifications. This I thought I will show it from the GitHub, because my machine is Mac machine and it does not have Python configured, and the screenshots I have taken from my Windows machine. These screenshots I had taken from my Windows machine, where I use for coding and testing and all other purposes. So let me just quickly go through the sample codes that I sent. So the first thing is this code, right? So this is the code. I'll just quickly explain. If you should have Python configured on your machine, right? So how to configure Python and set up Python is very simple. There are hundreds of videos out there. You can see that. Once the Python is installed, you will have to import this. There is we have to do pip pip. That's how we install different libraries. Pip install Fyers API version 2. So this has to be done with the command prompt after and then once that API is driven, then only you can access these libraries and the functions inside there, right? So it has got a get token function where they are doing some operation. We're not bothered about it. They have another function, get access token, and two functions basically: get auth token, that is authorization token, and get access token. So we are talking about authorization token, right? So in authorization token, when we talk about, we have to first comment out, right? So this is the main function. These are the different inside functions is to the main functions. We are calling the other functions, right? So this is a function called to generate the access token, which we have to comment out, and what else do we need to do? This we have to uncommit. So this is what we have to actually do. We have to get the authorization token, where we have to pass the application ID and the redirect URL. Your redirect URL can be any website, any dummy. Here Google site is going. You can give your local host or any websites that you have, if you have. Otherwise, you can give localhost/. So give that Google itself. Just it needs a URL to to redirect to. Any dummy will do. So you might have given that in the whatever you had given in the API app creation. It's in the app ID is an ID, app ID, and the secret key. These two things while creating the earlier. Here we got it. Right? Right. From here you have to copy this app ID and the secret ID, and um, right. So and then you have to comment this and uncomment this. Right? There are two function calls in the main. Right. One is generate access token function call. Another is get auth code. Get auth code you have to uncomment, right, first, and then run this code. Then you will get what? You will get a code, right? Um, so first step is that, right? So once you get that code in the output, right, you would so once if you run this, you get a code, and if you build this code, that has to be basically if you go back to the code, right, that has to be pasted here in the auth code. Just going here, this code you'll have to remove, or and paste the code that is generated after you build the first time this piece of code in the Python, right? And once you do that, you have to uncomment this and comment out the first one, get auth. This one you have to comment and comment out. That is what we are going to see next, right? That is how you created the, right? So first step is, I'll come again. The first step is uncomment get auth token function and comment the generate access token. Then you get a code that you put that code here in the auth code section, right? In the auth code section you paste that code, then comment out the get auth function and uncomment this. Then you again build it. Once you build that, you will get a Google or the Google browser. The browser interface is also, you'll get a Google pop-up, and there you will have a code generated. That code you have to paste. You have to copy that code. Anything that comes after the code, the complete hexadecimal kind of characters, you have to copy and put it into the next file. We have two files, right? And then you have to build that, right? And once you build that, you have to uncomment. Once you build that, you will get one code. Basically you will get the details. You got the code basically, right? So that's what you're going to see, right? So this has got two calls. One is you execute one of the functions here by uncommenting the other function call, get the code, and then put the code, and then comment out the earlier function and uncomment the second function, and then you get a code. That code you have to put in the second file, right? The second file you have to put that code that you got from the Google browser, the Chrome, right? The Chrome pop-up will come, and the Chrome browser you have to put here, and you also have to put the API key, the app name, and the right, the app name which you already got it where you're creating the app, right? The app ID and the secret key is there. That app ID you have to put, and also give a path in your machine so that you can log, you can write. So just any path will do, wherever you want the logs, right? The processing logs will be returned to that file, and this is the call, right? Here the app ID that you created in the app, the path where you want the logs to be, and the access token which you got from the Google browser, which is pasted here, right? So once you, after that you have to uncomment, so you can call any of this function, right? This is to get the profile details, this is to get the trade book, your positions, holdings. All of these are separate function calls. But before that, you have to make sure that you have the API call that is made. Once the API is, so you have to do this and then uncomment any of this, whichever you want, and you would get to see the results like this. So here I have uncommented the print get profile, so it is displaying my profile, right? So basically it has got the authentication token and the authentication code, and then it connected to the API with that code, and then it got the profile. I can get my trade book, I can get my positions, I can get my holdings, I get, so order book, cancel the order, placing order, everything else is all separate function calls after that. Right? They're all functions. Place order, cancel order, so all functions of the API to which I initially connected with these multiple steps. That's it, right? So that's the 5 steps. I'll just summarize it once again. First step, create an API app. That's very simple. Give any redirect URL, like your local host URL, or it can be google.com URL, and then create an app, give a name to that, and then you will get secret ID and the app ID. Save that, copy that and keep it notepad. Download the sample code for connecting from the GitHub, and then generate an authorization token by uncommenting the access token function first. Generate an access token by commenting the authorization token, and then uncommenting the access token, right? And then you call any of the API calls and get the response from the broker. That is what you have seen. Just quickly go through slides again, just to avoid confusion, because it's very difficult unless I show it in a video by going through the code. But that code is not in this recording machine that I have. It's the reason why I've taken this screenshot, but that's why I'm taking time to explain it. So simple 5 step: create the apps, download the code, modify the code in the Python editor after installing the required libraries for the Python, build the code after commenting out the second function and calling the first function, and then commenting the first function and uncommenting the second function, right? That is to get the access code. Previous one was to get the authorization code, and put that second code that you get in the Google pop-up browser, the end portion, the entire code after auth_code, everything in the URL, right, the address bar, everything you copy and put it into the second file that you have downloaded, and uncomment second file, and then give the app ID that you created in the app ID, access token that you got in the Google, put it here, and then you have give a path for the log, and your call will happen. And once your call has happened, also in the same second function, uncomment whichever functions that you want to test it out. Get profile is what is then build the Python, and then you will get the output of according to what API call that you have done. I hope it helps. So this is demo for connecting to the API and to get the response. Our aim is not to go into in-depth. Our aim is how to interface or connect with the API that is exposed by the broker and get a response from there. That's all, right? Now the API authentication method may be more or less the same, but there will be some differences also, depending on each broker, how API security mechanism is there, right? It may vary. We'll see the other brokers also later, right? This is just the beginning. It's the free one. You can, you don't have to pay anything to just connect to them. So you just need to have a free account created. That's all. Secondly, the API, the same API that we just now used to get the profile details, can be used for placing the orders and getting the response of seeing your holdings, positions, trade book, everything. All are separate calls. That's all, right? But the first step would be for the user to be authenticated by the API. For that, you need API app to be created. API app you should have an account first of all. Once you have an account, you can log into the API app. Create an app there, give the app's credentials, generate the auth token, generate the auth code, and then the auth the final code that you get, you put it into the API call, and then whichever of the API calls that you want, you can connect. So this is only the beginning of knowing how to interface as an external broker. The same, right? So now this code has got two files. You don't necessarily need two files, probably, right? That other function also can be put into and combined to, but it's just the beginning, so that you don't write everything from scratch. You have something that's already written. So I asked, so that is the reason why you just have to download the two files exposed or given free for learning by the broker, modify it, and then get to work. Then you can combine, put this as a separate function, one single function doing all of these things, and then call it into a generic login. All that all that is a part. This is a small part of a big automation trading project that we are going to learn in the later days. I hope it helps to some extent. If you like it, hit the like button and share it to all. Yeah, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching. Hope if you have any queries, you can put it in the comment box, or send an email or tweet to us. Right. Thank you so much for watching. Happy learning, happy coding, happy trading.